Hola a todo el mundo y bienvenido a mi canal. Yo me llamo Desiree. Soy abogada afrolatina licenciada practicando las leyes criminales, pero como todos ustedes, a mí me fascina cuando estamos hablando de casos de crímenes reales. En este video vamos a seguir hablando del caso de Monica Sementilli. Si quieres más video en español, nada más dime allá abajo. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Desiree. I'm a licensed and practicing Afro-Latina criminal attorney who, much like the rest of you, has this severe fascination with true crime cases. So listen, this week, as I promised you last week, we're just going to continue on in the three-part saga of the case of Monica Sementilli. Without further ado, I'm just going to get right into it. Last week, we gave a brief recap of everything that's gone on, so you should be refreshed as to what we've been living through in this, what it seems like is a never-ending trial, which actually finally did end. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Amen. Let's continue. The 26th day of Monica's trial continued on March 7th of 2025. On this day, Detective Corey Farrell testified for the prosecution that they had learned an unexpected change in plans as it relates to Austin and Baker's plan to kill Fabio Sementilli. Specifically, he testified to what Austin already told us, and that was that they tried to take Fabio's life the day prior to actually going through with it. The 27th day of trial continued on March 10th of 2025. On this day, the prosecution couldn't help themselves but to play additional phone calls between Monica and Robert following their arrests in this case. The 28th day of trial continued on March 11th of 2025. On this day, Detective Mitzi Roberts returned to the stand to testify about her analysis of the communications between Christopher Austin and Robert Baker following Fabio's murder. Detective Roberts further explained that in these communications, she saw Robert Baker urging Christopher Austin to download WhatsApp, another encrypted message application for the two of them to communicate following Fabio's murder. Also on this day, defense was able to call their first witness out of turn and during the prosecution's case in chief. We haven't discussed a lot of cases on our channel where defense decides to call a witness out of turn and during the prosecution's case in chief, but I'm here to tell you that's not unheard of. It's not super common, but it's not unheard of. If there's an agreement between the parties, sometimes schedules just get messed up or some witness for one side or the other can't testify during a scheduled time, specifically because this trial has been going on for damn near a month. Defense was able to call their first witness out of turn, and that's what happened here. The 29th day of trial continued on March 12th of 2025. Can I get a drum roll, please? A finger snap, please? A finger clap, please? Let me get something. Because this is the day that we all have been waiting for. After 29 days of trial, almost 30 full days of trial, 51 witnesses in trial. After all this time has finally passed, the prosecution has decided to finally rest. Amen. I have made it absolutely no secret of my opinion that the prosecution team in this case let this case go on for far too long. I feel like this case was relatively straightforward. I feel like they didn't need 51 witnesses. I feel like I've given a lot of my opinions about the witnesses' testimony. Much of their testimony wasn't even needed. They were calling people in this case to prove that Monica was the salacious, insert word here, other than focusing directly on the matter at hand, which was justice for Fabio. Praise God that they finally rested. Thank the Lord. Amen. This has gone on for far, far too long. Because I already stated that defense was able to call their first witness out of turn and during the prosecution's case in chief, the defense was able to call their second witness after the prosecution finally did us all a favor and rested. And that second witness was Monica's sister, Anna.
Okay, let's talk about that briefly. How did you learn that Fabio had been murdered?
I went to lay down on the couch after dinner while my husband was cleaning up, and I left my cell phone on the kitchen counter. It started to ring, and I said to my husband, "Can you answer it? It's probably my sister." So he answered it in a goofy voice, because he goofed around with my sister all the time. And he went, "Hello," something like that, like very weird answer. And then he held the phone to his ear and his mouth open, and he just went, "What? What are you talking about?" And I said to him, Stop fooling around, just give me the phone. I knew it was my sister. And he passed the phone to me in shock, and all I could hear was Jessica screaming and crying, hysterical, saying, "My father's dead. They killed him. He's dead." And I didn't understand. I'm like, "What happened? What's going on?" And she was just crying hysterically. And I said, "Who's there? Pass me to someone. Where's your mom?" And she said, "My mom's here. She can't talk." And she passed the phone to Debra. And Debra is the one who told me what happened.
Okay. Debra was who to you? Did you know a Debra?
Yes, I've met Debra on almost since my sister and Fab moved there and lived on Nogales Street. She was a neighbor there, and that was one of the first friendships that Fab and my sister made. So every time I went to California, I always saw Deb and Mike.
And that was Debra Obad and her husband Mike?
Correct.
Okay. And what did you do upon learning this and speaking with Jessica, if anything?
With speaking with Jessica or Debra?
I'm sorry, Debra.
When I spoke to Debra, I learned that Fab was stabbed, that he died, that Bella found him, that there was nothing that the paramedics could do, that police were there, and Monica and the girls were standing in the driveway, and Monica didn't want to leave. And I asked to speak to Monica, but Debra told me that she couldn't talk. She couldn't come to the phone. She's in no condition to talk. She can't put words together. And I said, "Okay, please tell her I'm going to come immediately, and Grant's getting a flight out for me. I'll be there soon. Just tell her I'll be there soon." And Debra asked me if I was going to tell my parents, and I said, "I'm driving there right now. It's not a phone call you want to make." So I hung up with Debra. We had agreed that I would call her the minute I knew of flight information. I jumped in my car and I drove to my mom's house, and I had to break the news to my parents, and my mom collapsed. I'm sorry.
Anna explained about the moment she learned of Fabio's passing, as well as her actions after. Anna also explained that she was 1,000% clueless as to her sister's affair with Robert Baker. I thought that Anna was a great witness for defense. I do. I understand that you guys want me to hate everything that has everything to do with Monica, her family, her friends, because she did a bad thing, and I'm just not here to provide that opinion to you. Anna was a good witness. I found her charming. She seemed competent, reliable. She seemed like she was providing facts based on her own knowledge. She seemed trustworthy. She seemed credible. She seemed like she was there just expressing the circumstances of what happened to her, and as a grieving former sister-in-law. I think defense did really great by calling her. One thing I will say, though, in watching the cross of Anna on that stand, prosecution nailed her. They nailed her. You hear me? Okay. The prosecution went forth, and they got out some pretty interesting details.
So at that point, you said you had her passwords, right?
Yes.
Had you ever gone into and checked her email before?
No.
So this was the first time that you went into her personal email because you suspected that she was lying to you.
I don't remember the reason, but I did it. So yes.
And when you went in there then, you testified that you found some other things, such as she was referring to herself as Madonna. Is that right?
I said I found a note where it was signed Madonna and Rob. Not signed, but typed Madonna and Rob, signed off.
Had you ever heard your sister refer to herself as Madonna?
Never.
And that particular website was, or email that you saw was referencing meeting up with other couples or swinging.
I assumed that's what it was, yes.
Did you ever know, or did your sister ever tell you that she was swinging, meaning have sex with other couples?
No.
Did your sister ever tell you that she was a member and participated over 800 times logging into an app called Lifestyle Lounge, which was for people who swing?
No.
Then when you went into the emails, did you talk to Debra Obad about that?
Yes.
And again, did Debra Obad tell you that Monica had been cheating on Fabio and in a relationship with this Rob Baker?
That was the first time she mentioned Rob Baker's name to me.
Okay, so she didn't say the name's Rob Baker, but when she talked about before, she did talk to you about Monica cheating, having an affair, seeing someone, right?
She only made jokes in reference to me.
Well, what kind of jokes?
Like, look at your sister, she's so skinny, she must be having an affair. Look at her, where's she going with those boots? She must be going to meet somebody. Things like that.
Well, when was that?
Before Fab even died.
Okay, so she made jokes about it before, but you didn't suspect anything. Then after he died, at that point, Debra definitely had her suspicions about Rob Baker and was talking to you about it.
Objection calls for speculation.
It's compound, just stand on that ground.
Did Debra talk to you about Rob Baker specifically having a relationship with your sister after Fabio died?
Calls for hearsay.
Overruled.
I don't remember her ever saying his name to me before that conversation that I had about Myrtle Beach and the emails that I found.
Okay, well then, rather than say his name, did she talk about the racquetball guy? You knew, or reference Rob Baker. You knew who he was.
I don't remember her referencing racquetball player or anything like that. I really don't.
Now, after she came back from Myrtle Beach, did you confront her then? Let's talk about first about her trip to Myrtle Beach.
Are you talking about my sister now?
Yes.
So when she came to Canada, yes, I confronted her along with my mom.
You and your mom, what did you confront her about?
We asked her if she was having an affair.
And what did she tell you?
She didn't answer us. She just said, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." She was quiet. And I said, "Monica, are you having an affair? Is it with Rob?" And she just said, "I can't believe this. I can't believe this." And then I showed her the printout of whatever that letter said. And I'm like, "Who is Madonna? And who's Rob?" And she said, "I can't believe this. I can't believe this." And she got up and left, went upstairs. Seemed like she was trying to pack. Then she came downstairs. She went outside, started walking down the street. I followed her. I asked her, "Where are you going?" She didn't answer. She was on her phone. I told her, convinced her to come back into the house. She came back into the house. Obviously, my mom and I were devastated. And
Why were you devastated?
because we had no idea that she was having, we assumed that she was. Like, even though she didn't admit it, I can tell that it was true.
Were you devastated that she'd been lying to you?
Yes, devastated that she lied to me, devastated that she had this affair, devastated that she was doing a swinging lifestyle. Like, we were just shocked.
But at this point, sorry, go ahead.
upset. But the fact that she had an affair and lied, of course she's going to lie. She wants to cover the affair. Doesn't mean that she had anything to do with this murder.
All right. So when she still didn't admit, though, that she was having an affair to you in Canada when you confronted her with your mother.
Correct.
She still didn't admit that to you.
She didn't.
All right.
She never came out and said the words.
Well, she never admitted she had an affair with Rob Baker.
She never said those words. That's right.
You testified before that, again, this is a subject where it's your sister, it's the person closest to her. Along that line, until her arrest on June 14th, 2017, just to be clear, did she ever tell you that she had been seeing Rob Baker or was currently seeing Rob Baker, anything of that nature?
Ask and answer.
Overruled.
Sorry, can you repeat that one more
Until
time?
her arrest, okay? Did she ever tell you that she had been having an affair with Rob Baker at any time? Before Fabio died or after Fabio died?
No, she never admitted anything to me. And I confronted her the night before she left to come back to LA. And the very next day she was arrested.
All right. Did she tell you that her daughter, Jessica, your niece, actually caught Rob Baker in her bed in the Sementilli home in the summer or the spring of 2016 when Fabio was out of town traveling on business? Did she ever tell you that?
Monica never told me that.
Well, you said Monica. Did someone tell you that?
Debra told me that.
So you did have conversations with Debra prior about this situation of Jessica finding Rob Baker in your sister's bed.
I believe this.
In fact, not an evidence.
Overruled.
Go ahead.
I believe this conversation happened after Monica was arrested.
All right. So Jessica never told you about what she found in her mom's bed, finding Rob there.
Jessica told me after Monica was arrested, and I spent time with them.
Did she ever tell you that immediately following Fabio's murder, February 21, that she was already going out to bars?
Objection. Ask and answer.
Overruled.
Did my sister
Yes.
tell me that she was going out to bars?
Yes.
No.
Did she tell you she was going to comedy clubs?
No.
Did she ever tell you that she was having trouble at home with her daughters pleading for her to be home while she was out?
No.
Did she ever tell you, ever, about that Viber encrypted app where she could communicate with her lover on it thousands upon thousands of times?
Objection. Cumulative.
Cumulative cancel.
Did she ever tell you that when she went to Vegas, you said the first time she was going with, you don't remember the first time. Is that right? The first time she went to Vegas?
That's correct.
So she never told you that she was going there with Rob Baker that first time in March. Is that right?
That's overruled.
She never told me, no.
Did she ever tell you that she lied to her friends and Wella employees as well as her own kids and told them that she was going with friends? Did she ever tell you that?
No, she told me she was going with friends.
Okay, but did she tell you that she also lied to Wella people about that?
No.
Did she tell you that she also lied to her own kids about that fact?
No.
Did she also tell you that she lied to her friends about that fact?
Objection. Ask and answer.
Overruled.
No.
When she went back to Las Vegas in May, she told you she was going, you testified with Sheila and Rob, right?
Sheila and Sheila's husband.
Okay, Sheila and Sheila's husband. Did she tell you that she was also going with Rob Baker?
No.
Did she tell you that she paid for the suite in Las Vegas?
Objection. Relevance.
Overruled.
No.
Did she tell you that she paid over a $500 dinner for a birthday dinner with her boyfriend?
No, again, she's kept that from me because she's having an affair, and obviously she didn't want anyone to know.
Including her own sister, who was her best friend, who talked to her 2 to 3 times every day.
That's correct.
All right. Did she tell you that, ever that she was a member of a swinging group?
Never.
Did she tell you that she had sex with other men while her boyfriend, Rob Baker, watched her on FaceTime?
No.
Did she tell you that she lied to the police and said she knew nothing about the surveillance system when in fact she is the person who had it installed and had all the paperwork?
Objection, asked and answered, Q.
That's not correct. It's overruled.
No.
Did she tell you that she wanted to ditch her last name Sementilli?
Objection, argumentative.
It's overruled.
Facts not in evidence.
I've ruled.
No.
Did she tell you that after she's arrested, in letters to her lover Rob Baker and jail calls to him, she talked about wanting to ditch her last name Sementilli and be called Mrs. Baker?
Objection, argumentative.
Overruled.
No.
Did she tell you that prior to Fabio's murder, she referred to herself as Mrs. Baker?
No.
Did she tell you that prior to Fabio's murder, when she was at Rob Baker's house, that she wrote Mrs. Baker in lipstick on his mirror in his bedroom?
No.
Did she tell you that she had told people at the gym that she was unhappy in her marriage prior to the murder of Fabio?
No. I knew she told them that she was lonely, because she would tell me that too.
Okay, my question is, did she tell you that she told them she was unhappy in her marriage?
No.
Facts not in evidence.
Overruled.
Based on everything that you've testified, is it still your testimony that you trust what your sister says to you?
I believe my sister. I know she was lying because she was hiding an affair. She knew I
That's not
wouldn't
my
agree. Do I trust her? Yes.
Okay, so again, February 4th, the viewing on Saturday, these pictures you reviewed it. Again, it's a picture of the defendant's vagina, blocked out, of course. A picture of her laying, showing her breasts. That's her wedding ring. You recognize your sister's wedding ring, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then a picture of her finger in her vagina, blocked out, right? Right? That's what you just saw.
Yes, that's what I saw.
Did you know that was again at your parents' house?
No, of course not. I didn't know any of this.
Okay. Then February 5th was the mass and the reception and Fabio's cremation. You want to take a look at those photos?
Do I have to?
Yeah, you do. You recognize those photos?
Your Honor, again, I would object. The witness has already testified she was not aware of
I've
it.
already ruled on this, counsel.
Thank you.
So you recognize that as the naked photo in the bathroom showing her vagina and her bare breasts. Is that your parents' bathroom?
Yes.
Okay. And then there's a photograph of her standing, taking a picture of her backside, naked in a mirror. Is that your parents' bathroom?
Yes.
Another photo in the shower, naked, showing her vagina and her breasts. Is that your parents' bathroom as well?
Yes.
And then there's a photo, naked breasts, pulling her pants down, showing her vagina. Do you recognize that room as your parents' house?
It looks like it, yes.
All right. And then lastly, laying on another bed with some sheets with blue flowers, showing her breasts and her pants pulled down. Is that your parents' house?
I don't recognize the sheets, Warren, and just not enough in the background for me to confirm.
All right. And again, that Sunday was the day that Fabio, there's a mass with a lot of people there, and she was distraught and crying and very upset, right?
Yes, she was.
And that was actually the day that her husband was cremated.
Yes.
Although I feel like most of the prosecution's cross-examination of Anna was 100% warranted. It was effective. It was good. It was strategic. They got the details out that they needed to get out. I do feel like some of the questions that they were asking her and some of the evidence that they wanted her to opine to was unnecessary. I mean, por Dios, they asked this woman to stare at a picture of her sister's vaginal hairs with Robert Baker's initials shaved into them. And then, when Anna asked the prosecutor if she really had to view such a horrible image, the prosecutor brutally and coldly responded, "Yes, you do." What? Unheard of. Following the prosecutor's brutal destruction of Anna on cross-examination, defense called Monica and Fabio's second daughter, Isabella Sementilli, to the stand. I completely understand why defense would call Isabella to the stand, but in listening to her testimony, I wasn't moved one way or another. She very clearly is supportive of her mother, which, unlike most people, I do not feel like that's uncommon, unheard of, unfathomable. It happens. You lost one parent, and now they're charging the other parent. Your emotions are high and they're involved. I get it. She offered her support for her mother, but as far as testimony is concerned and evidence that is to be gathered or wasn't able to be gathered from other witnesses, I feel like we could have left Isabella off the stand. In another moment that we have all been waiting for, defense calls their star witness, Robert Louis Baker, to the stand.
You needed someone to do what?
If I was going to do this, if I was going to do this to this man, I needed somebody to do this to create an alibi. If I need someone to kill him, so I can create an alibi.
And the individual you selected was who?
Somebody I trusted, which was Chris.
Was there anyone you trusted more?
No.
Was he loyal to you?
Yeah.
You thought he would do this just because you asked him?
Yeah, but he knew there was going to be some kind of perk. I'm not going to just, I'm not going to just ask him to do something and not.
Had you committed any criminal acts with Mr. Austin before?
No.
So give us a time frame we're talking about now. Still Christmas?
It's around Christmas. Yeah, Christmas, when I really wanted to pull the trigger. I kind of talked to him about it in October, maybe September. I kind of discussed it with him just to feel it out.
And what was your goal, your ultimate goal?
The ultimate goal was to be with her. That's the ultimate goal.
Well, you were with her already.
Eventually on a permanent basis. It may have taken 2-3 years, but eventually on that type of scale.
Did you ever think of convincing her to divorce her husband and marrying you?
We talked about it, but that wasn't going to happen. I could see that.
Were you concerned she might go back to her husband?
That was always a possibility.
You wanted her for yourself?
I wanted her for myself, yeah. I wanted to be happy.
I will say this. What did I just get done telling you? Defense called Robert Baker to the stand on day 29. Let me let you know that Robert Louis Baker remained on that stand until day 34. I am going to die on this hill. The prosecution is far too long-winded. And I know what you're going to say. Well, Desiree, you just said that defense called him. I did. But he was on the stand for all those days, in part because the prosecution took 3 full days to cross-examine him. It was like she was repeating herself a million times over, asking the same questions, trying to get points that she had already gotten out of him. I think if she were more concise, more clear, just put everything out at the forefront, it would have been far more effective. Obviously, she made some effective points during cross-examination of Robert Baker. I just think the entirety of her cross-examination was far, far too long. I think it missed the point. It carried on too long. It was unnecessary. And it's just like, dude, why are these people here for all these days as you guys continue to repeat yourselves as if they haven't heard it the first time? March 13th, 14th, March 17th, and March 18th, on top of the day I just told you about, which was day 29. All them days were for continued testimony of Robert Baker. Unlike the prosecutor, I'm not going to continue beating a dead horse. Let's just give my opinions on Robert Baker's testimony, because I think when defense initially called Robert, I actually thought he came across somewhat credible. During his direct, he came across as somewhat credible. I do think that the prosecution was able to poke little holes in that credibility. So kudos to Beth Silverman for doing something, in her 3 days of needlessly talking. But I don't think Robert Baker offered as much as I feel like, I guess I was expecting. I think it would have been a fallacy on defense's part not to call him at all. But genuinely speaking, and just generally speaking, I think Robert Baker was like, hey, I killed this man because I wanted to have Monica to myself full time, and that was that. And it's just like, explain all these things. Explain how you got access to the home surveillance system. Explain everything else. Like, not a lot of explanation was given. And I don't know. I don't know. What y'all think? On March 19th, 2025 and March 20th, 2025. Those are days 34 and 35 of trial. Defense recalled Christopher Austin in an attempt to pretty much destroy his credibility. And they played the entire proffer interview that Austin did with the prosecution and law enforcement in this case. Day 36 continued on March 21st of 2025. Christopher Austin remained on the stand as the entirety of his proffer was being played for the jurors. On day 37, April 1st of 2025, the prosecution made a damn fool of defense witness Debra Obad. Y'all get it? Because it's April Fool's Day, April 1st, April Fool's. And she was a damn fool on that witness stand, let me tell you. The prosecution cross-examined defense witness Debra Obad so mercilessly that I'm sure she went home and had regrets about taking the stand in the first place.
Did you tell the police then about Faye? You told the police about Faye in your February 2014 interview, correct?
Yes.
And you told the police that you did not like her.
Yeah, she just had a weird vibe when she walked in. It was just...
Well, did you tell the police that there's this Faye woman, she came with her husband, I think she was a Persian lady. I really did not like her because she walked up to me and my husband and goes, "Oh, who are you?" And I say, "Fuck you, we're family and we've been with them, who are you?"
I didn't say fuck you to her, but okay. I probably said, like, who are you? Why are you saying that to me? Because you're the first time I've ever seen her in this house.
Yeah, I guess my question is, did you tell the police that?
I don't recall. I might have made a joke I felt like saying, fuck you, who are you? But I didn't say that to her.
Would you like to see a transcript?
No, I remember.
You remember saying that, fuck you?
Yeah, but I know it was more in a jest, like fuck you, who are you? Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't meant to be malicious. You're just that's what you told the police.
Correct.
Okay. And in your February 21 phone call to the police, you called her a dumb Persian bitch Faye.
When was this?
February 21 in a phone call to Detective Parshall, you referred to Faye as a dumb Persian bitch.
Yeah.
We would object based on the evidence.
Overruled.
Yeah, she came to the house a few times after and was sort of bossy and like trying to take charge of something when she didn't know any of us.
Okay. And then you also referred to her, you assumed it was her husband, as a short Persian dude.
Yes, it was just a man she was with, I don't know.
Okay. But that's the terms that you used to refer to Faye. So it's fair to say you didn't like Faye.
I didn't, no, I don't think I did.
Okay. You met her at the New Year's Eve party then. Who else was there?
There was a lot of people. Ernie was there. Fab's friend Ernie was there. Anna and Grant was there, and her children.
Is
or
Grant
her daughter.
Anna's husband?
Yes. And there were just a bunch of different people there.
Do you know Elise Blue?
I do, yes, I do know who she is.
Was she at the New Year's Eve party?
I don't recall.
She was another friend. When did you first meet her, if you recall?
I felt like I met her the first time the night of the murder.
And is that when you called, you told Detective Harshaw that she had a big fucking mouth?
Yes.
Okay. And she came with a man named Barry.
Yes.
And you told Detective Harshaw in your February 14th interview that he was creepy.
Yes.
And so you didn't like Elise and Barry either.
Well, I didn't mind Elise, and I didn't mind Barry. Elise was just the only person out of everybody that walked in and out of the house after the murder. She was the only one that walked out and talked to the news reporters. And I thought that was not cool of her to do that.
All right. In your February 21 call, you also said Elise was a wacky girl who's probably 45, 50 and dresses like she's 22.
Yep.
Again, you object as to relevance.
And again, in another interview, you referred to her again as a big mouth.
Yes.
Okay. And then her boyfriend, Barry, who you called creepy again in a February 21 call to Detective Harshaw, and a boring, short Jew with gray hair.
Yep.
Those are the terms you used for them.
If it says, I probably said that.
Now, Barry, you also, at one point, pointed the detectives at as you thinking that he might be involved in the murder. Is that right?
Yes.
Why did you think that?
Because the picture that I saw of the two guys coming up, they looked short, and Barry is short.
So because they looked short,
Yeah,
you thought it was Barry.
Yeah, and I remember saying to Parshall that I don't necessarily think he did it, but just look into him because he does have a short stature.
Okay. Now, at the gym, there's also Matt. You referred to Matt. You had met Matt, or you just knew about Matt?
I just knew about Matt.
Did you know that the defendant had propositioned him to have an affair with her?
I think Beth Silverman told me that.
Did you know that independently of ever talking to the district attorney?
No, I did not.
Did you know that the defendant told Matt Nurse that she was unhappy in her marriage?
I did not know that.
Rob Baker, you first met him then when?
At the wake, well, I didn't meet him. I saw him January 29th, I think it was, that Sunday, at the house.
At the memorial in the backyard?
Correct.
And you referred to him as the douchebag.
Correct.
So you told the detectives then that these gym friends, you did not like her gym friends.
Well, I wasn't really sure of who they were.
Okay.
I didn't meet them. It was sort of, they were in the background.
When you spoke to Detective Parshall, you called him approximately, you had an interview at her house one time, is that correct?
Yes.
And then you also had phone calls, you initiated phone calls to him 5, 6, 7 times based on, as you testified, information, you're trying to get the case solved.
Correct.
And when you did, you referred to them routinely as gym rat people.
Yep.
That's how you felt?
Yep.
They were gym rats.
Because I didn't know who they were.
Okay. But you didn't say gym people like you did on your direct testimony yesterday. You called them gym rats.
Well, I called them both, gym people and gym rats.
Okay.
In the entirety of this trial, I will say I haven't enjoyed watching anything more than the prosecution's cross-examination of Debra Obad. Debra seemed like a messy, busybody neighbor that was just inserting herself into places and positions that she shouldn't have been inserting herself into. And the prosecution showed exactly that. She was a busybody. Busy. Anyways, she was just so nosy. And she made no logical sense. And I just enjoyed so much seeing the prosecution destroy her on the stand. She wasn't credible. She wasn't a good witness for defense. I don't even know why they called her. It was terrible. It was terrible, and that's what she is. Day 38 of trial continued on April 2nd of 2025. On this day, Unlike the prosecution and their million days of testimony and million witnesses and million, unlike all of that, defense decided to spare us, and they've rested. Day 39 and day 40 continued on April 3rd and April 4th of 2025. So on these days, closing arguments commenced. But you will notice that I delivered a deep sigh of exasperation when I said that. And the reason for that is because Beth Silverman just doesn't know when to quit. She was delivering her closing argument over those next 2.5, 3 days. Much like her opening statement, this closing argument was the longest closing argument I have heard in the history of criminal trials ever. As I was watching it live with some other people on the network, they were saying that she broke a world record and beat the prior person who had the longest closing argument in history. This woman does too much. You've made these people sit through over 40 days of trial. You don't think that they understand at this point? No, you're going to continue to go on and on and on and on. In speaking of Miss Silverman's closing argument as a whole, the argument that spanned almost 3 full days, I will just say, generally speaking, I didn't enjoy it. Every time Miss Silverman speaks, it's like she's beating a dead horse. First, we had an opening statement that spanned multiple days. Second, we had the cross-examination of Baker that spanned multiple days. And now third, we're at a closing argument that is also spanning multiple days. I don't know why this woman can't be brief. She's called herself thorough, but I'm gonna just call it like it is. She's long-winded. Get to the point. These jurors have already sat here for 40 days plus. I'm sure they get what's going on. Day 41 of trial continued on April 7th of 2025. On this day, one of Monica's defense attorneys, Mr. Levine, delivered a closing argument on her behalf. Mr. Levine and Miss Silverman are kind of fighting a little bit neck and neck, with Mr. Levine like kind of slightly below her, to see who could be the most long-winded attorney in this trial. Because there was no reason that his opening statement was that long either. In starting his opening statement, he tried to make a little jokey joke about how he wasn't going to have the jurors sitting there for 3 full days as he delivered a closing argument, because he could be brief and deliberate into. ¿Qué te pasa a ti? All in all, they both delivered their closing arguments. On the 43rd day of trial, April 9th of 2025, the jury finally got the case for deliberation. Although there's not a verdict as of yet, I'm almost certain that there will be before I upload this video. To avoid making a part 4 in this whole Monica Sementilli saga, I'll insert the verdict, whatever it is, into this video. I've made my comments pretty clear in this case. I do believe that Monica is guilty. I do believe Monica conspired with Robert Baker and Christopher Austin to kill her husband. I do believe that that was partly motivated by money and Fabio's life insurance policy. I believe that. But I also believe, and I'm going to stand strong on this, that the prosecution did far too much. A lot of what they did to me seemed ineffective. It was brutal. It was harsh. It was long. It was long-winded. It went on for far too long. There is absolutely no reason, from my professional perspective, as someone who does these trials, who does criminal trials, who walks into trials and does this type of work for a living, that this case should have spanned more than 40 days. It's absolutely insane. Hopefully, when we find out the verdict together, because I'll be finding out with you, it's a verdict that everyone can work with. I appreciate you guys as I took time to explain the entirety of this Monica Sementilli saga. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Until next time, y'all take care.
We are on the record, Mr. Sementilli. The defendant is present, all counsel present, jury, and alts are present. Good morning. Juror number 10, I understand the jury has reached verdicts. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Are the verdicts dated and signed?
Yes, they are.
Please hand all verdict forms to the bailiff. And you. This time, the clerk, please read the verdicts.
In the Superior Court of the State of California, County of Los Angeles, in Department 101, the people of the State of California versus Monica Sementilli, in case number BA 452-97502. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Monica Sementilli, guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony as charged in count 1 of the indictment. We further find the murder to be of the first degree. We further find the allegation that the murder of Fabio Sementilli was intentional and carried out by the defendant, Monica Sementilli, for financial gain within the meaning of Penal Code Section 190.2A1 to be true. We further find the allegation that the defendant, Monica Sementilli, intentionally killed the victim by means of lying in wait within the meaning of Penal Code Section 190.2A15 to be true. Dated April 11th, 2025, juror seat number 10, 4-person. In the same case, title, and cause, we, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Monica Sementilli, guilty of the crime of conspiracy to commit murder in violation of Penal Code Section 182A1, a felony as charged in count 2 of the indictment. Dated April 11th, 2025, juror number 10, 4-person.